Hello everybody and welcome back to the British Pokemon League show. We are here for week 8 of the British Pokemon League action. We are just 4 weeks away till the end of the season for the British Pokemon League Premier Division. Apologies, we are a little bit delayed. Had Liverpool regionals and a few other things going on the last couple of days. I meant the show has been put back a couple of days, but next week things should be back to normal. Everything should be a bit more, organised. Speaking of Liverpool regionals, just want to give a quick shout out to 4 of the British Pokemon League players who attended regionals and took part in it, all achieving top 100 finishes. So huge shout out to Dogsy, RNT Marshall, Latvian, and of course Kirky for their performances at the weekend. They did us all very, very proud. And don't have enough good things to say about all 4 of them. It was a very, very fun weekend, and they put everyone on notice. Let's be honest. So very exciting to see them guys really making a name for themselves on the VGC market. But anyway, guys, as you mentioned, 4 weeks of action left to go. Let's take a quick look at the league table as we head into the final sort of couple of weeks of games. As you can see there, Inglorious Surface sat atop the British Pokemon League. They have all but secured their playoff berth. There's playoff berth once again for a 4th season running. Aaron managing to make playoffs. So, to be honest, pretty much as expected. Then following up behind them is the Miami Heat and the Welsh Warriors, both on a 5-2 record. Of course, Miami Heat getting that all-important win over the Bully Boys last week, and the Warriors taking out the Goobies to solidify that 3rd place. South Croydon Saurs moving up to 4th, just slowly making their way up the table, after that dodgy start. And we mentioned last week is Chris has really, really turned things around and, is back to about where we expect him to be. As I said, the Bully Boys losing out to the Miami Heat. They do drop down to 5th, just ahead of the Tyndall Melmetals, who are really on one hell of a run themselves. Closely followed behind the Space City PC and Shadow King. Space City PC meme on a crazy run right now, 3 wins on the trot. Can he continue that and get himself even further up the table? Then down now bottom 4, all on a 2-5 record. We've got the Newcastle Thunderous, Crimmet Colossals, Long Island Goobies, and the Toronto 6 on a very good run right now. 2 game wins under their belt. 2 for 1 since joining the league. So Jay just slowly clawing himself out of that relegation zone and trying his best to make that late playoffs run. We know it's manageable. We saw last season Draco and Swindon Rookies look down and out at this point of the season and then snuck in to that top 8 at the last hurdle. So, don't count anyone out is all I'm going to say. There's only really Aaron who's definitively in playoffs right now, so anything could happen. Let's take a look at this week's schedule then. So kicking off this week's show, we have got a pretty huge battles. We've got 3rd versus 4th South Croydon Saurs taking on the Welsh Warriors. And Chris mentioned to me before that, as Draft League as a whole has not managed to beat Matrix before, so it'll be very interesting to see if Chris can get one over on the Welsh Warriors. Then next up we have got the Bully Boys taking on the most handsome man in all of Texas, Space City PC. As you mentioned there, Space City PC on a 3-game winning streak. So are the Bully Boys the one to put a stop to that unbeaten streak, or is the meme hype train about to keep on rolling? Then on our 3rd game of the week, it is the Shadow Kings taking on the Toronto 6 Dogsy on a little bit of an iffy run right now. As I saw him fall a little bit down the table. As we mentioned there, Jay on a 2-game winning streak, looking very, very strong with that team he put together since joining, and is really putting everyone on notice, and as we said, making that late stride towards playoffs. Then we have got the Tyndall Melmetals taking on the Crimmet Colossals. Kirky, as we said, also on a really good run right now. Just one of the 3 or 4 informed teams. Can never count out Dr. Dave. Dr. Dave, again, not on the greatest form right now, but has got a very strong team and a few very fun gimmicks kicking around in there, so it's something Kirk are going to have to be careful. Then next up we have got the Miami Heat taking on the Long Island Goobies. Silly, one of the last people to beat Latvian before he departed the league briefly. So Latvian will be trying to get one over on his American brother. And then rounding out the week, we have got the Inglorious Surface taking on the Newcastle Thunderous. Always a fun one when these two throw down. See, last time round, I think week 2 last season, these two played, and Dave is still working out his team at that point, so Aaron was able to get the win. So Dave going to be looking to try and get one over on the Aaron and his Inglorious Surface, who of course lost their first match last week to the Tyndall Melmetals. So Dave will be trying to catch Aaron off guard and make use of that loss. But let's take a look at our first game then. We have got the South Croydon Saurs taking on the Welsh Warriors. Straight off the bat with that Welsh Warriors team, you can see Heatran and Metagross are going to be really, really powerful here. One thing you've got to be careful of, of course, is not procking that Mudsdale stamina. Mudsdale is probably going to be one of the better answers into that heat run Metagross sort of Empoleon duo, but one thing that Chris has got to be careful of is that Klefki as well. We know that thing like someone Switcheroo with either an Iron Ball or a lagging tail, and can really, really cause a lot of problems for the opposing team. And we know Matrix likes to run a damaging move on that thing as well. So that if all else fails, as the Klefki's at least doing something, we may even see Matrix employ something with the Grassy Seed just to make use of the Tapu Bulu potentially coming, setting up that terrain and getting that defensive boost that it needs. It's very interesting to see which Mega he goes for here. I would expect the Mega Metagross is going to be sort of hot on the agenda, just with the access to so many different punch moves. You've got Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, which is going to be very good in a lot of Chris's team there, and it can make good use of that. And, over on Chris's side, you've got to expect that Cress is really going to come in clutch, as well as Hawlucha. Hawlucha has been so huge for Chris since he brought it in the mid-season. Has really been putting in the work. So I very much expect that to come along with the Mudsdale. I would think that Flareon, Bulu may potentially also be coming along with this game. Flareon just make use of that glaring fire weakness on the Warriors team. Once you get past the heat run, then Flareon is looking pretty damn good. And it's you look at it and you think it's not really very threatening, but this thing can pack a punch, and of course has flash fire of its own, so could be very good as a switch into the likes of that heat run, trying to go for the eruption if heat run is to come at this game. But anyway, guys, without further ado, let's get into this one. It is the South Croydon Saurs taking on the Welsh Warriors. This one is a replay game, so I will do my very best to keep up with the action. And we're going to kick things straight off with the Hawlucha and the Mudsdale Matrix with the Klefki and the Skarmory. Chris with the Melodic, Flareon, Chris and slacking in the back and going straight for the Thunder Punch into Skarmory. Skarmory going for the Iron Defensor off the bat, and Klefki getting the reflex screens up. Chris making a bit of a mistake. They're going for the high horsepower, and Klefki maybe expecting a switch out. As you can see there, Empoleon, Metagross, Togedemaru, Aegis Slash in the back for him as Skarmory goes for the Roost. He's already got the defense up, and Chris going for the smackdown on the Skarmory as well. Chris going to switch into the Flareon, then play rough. There's a good read there, expecting the play rough coming out again. Another Iron Defense goes up for that Skarmory, and the Mudsdale is at least going to break that balloon on the Klefki. Raindad's going to come out to just stop that damage hitting so hard, but that Flamethrower still does so much. And Body Press going to get rid of Flareon, higher horsepower, going to get rid of the Klefki though with a huge critical hit there, and the trade out going off straight away as in comes the Crest, and in comes Empoleon from there. So Chris going for the skill swap into the Mudsdale. So Crest now has the stamina related Mudsdale with that Levitate. Mudsdale going to take a big hit from the skull from that Empoleon, and it goes for the high horsepower of its own. Empoleon managing to tank that thanks to that Reflect being up, but Reflect does now go down, goes for the Protect, and there is the Calm Mind going off for the Cresselia Body Press in that Mudsdale. Is going to mean that there's a 3v2. Skarmory putting in all the work here. Empoleon going to switch out as in comes the Metagross Thunder, but that's a great read there from Matrix. Calm Mind going up once again for that Crest, and Body Press going to take out the Hawlucha. So now it's all up to Cresselia, but it does have that stamina ability. There's a Meteor Mash that gets some big damage in Crest, but is going to give it that 1.5 defense, and the Keyberry procced as well, so it has 2 times defense. Those stat boosts on that Cresselia absolutely going crazy. Another stamina boost thanks to that Brave Bird from Skarmory, and Matrix in a little bit of a pickle now, as he's only got physical moves to hit from, and he's just going to keep proccing that stamina. And Moonlight goes off again. Chris is going to be able to just keep this Crest alive. So it might look down now, but Crest is in a really, really good spot here. Of course, it does have that Shadow Ball, which is going to indeed take out that Metagross, as now as the 1v2, and all the Skarmory can really do is Brave Bird is not quite doing enough damage, as in comes the Empoleon. Then Shadow Ball goes into that Empoleon, so Empoleon just about managing to tank that, as out comes another Brave Bird Ice Beam, trying to maybe go for the freeze there, but the Life Orb damage is going to take Empoleon now. So all of a sudden, there's a 1v1. Moonlight comes out from the Crest to go back up to full HP, and this Brave Bird is not going to be able to do enough. Chris are in a very, very good spot here. Out comes the Shadow Ball. Does a little bit of damage there, not as much as you'd be expecting after those 2 Calm Minds, but still good damage away, all the same leftovers, giving some of that damage back to Skarmory. And Cress is going to be able to take this one, does get the critical hit from the Brave Bird, but that's not going to matter. There's another Shadow Ball, should get the job done, and Chris is going to take the lead in this one. A great game one there from Crizzle, and the Cresselia with the 1v3 is absolutely insane, as he's going to lead with the Mudsdale and Hawlucha. Again, this time Matrix switching them with the Metagross and the Skarmory. Goes to the Thunder Punch into Skarmory, gets a big hit off of Skarmory, managed to live that. The Ice Punch gonna proc that stamina, but gets a big damage off into the into the Mudsteel and the Haulage as the high horsepower, also hitting that Metagross. So good time one from both sides. There's the Thunderbudge going to take out the Skarmory then, and high horsepower blocked by that Protect on the Metagross. Then out comes the Klefki. Cresselia going to switch in then, and Reflect going off the Klefki. The Ice Punch is going to take the Mudsteel out though, so no skill swap this time around. As Empoleon going to switch in, reading the Flamethrower might be coming out as Rain Dance goes up, and Chris choosing to detect instead as the Toxic Poison comes out from Klefki, so putting that Cresselia on a timer, that's maybe the best way to try and stall it out, as the Crest goes for another Calm Mind. That Scorching Sun's getting some big damage up, and Passable Berry stopping that Skull from just taking out the Flareon. So some good item choices there on Crizzle's side. Out comes the Toxic Poison again into in the Flareon. That Flamethrower is getting some big damage off and popping the balloon. More importantly, the Protect gonna block the Shadow Ball from the Cresselia as well. Scorching Sands, it was Scorching Sands, it is going to take out the Klefki, and all of a sudden it's a 3v2 with Shadow Ball. Going to take out the Empoleon, it is a 1v3 now. Is the Metagross got it in it to do, to return back that 1v3? I don't think so, as a Protect's going to come out from the Metagross. Shadow Ball gonna be blocked by that Protect. All it can try and do is Protect Stall. It's not going to work, and Chris going to take the 2-0 and get another win under his belt, and he keeps on climbing up the table. So Chris going to move into that third spot and switch positions with Mater. So GG's to both players. Yeah, it looked a very scary position in that game one, but I think Chris always had it, under control either way. Played that really, really well, and game two was just fully under his control. So GG's to both players, and I'm very surprised to see no heat run on Matrix's side, but all the same, really, really good stuff there, and a great way to start off this evening show. But onto our game two then. It is the Bulu Boys taking on the Space City PCs. Of course, last time these two, myself and Meme, played each other, Meme was able to take it in a 2-1 fashion, but of course, with new season, new teams, and new perspectives, shall we say. But as we mentioned earlier in the show, Meme is on one hell of a winning run right now, and has been just slowly climbing his way back up that table, after making that pretty bad 0-4 start. Has really turned things around. Especially the trades at the halfway point, I think have really, really benefited him. That Lurantis has just been a nightmare for people to deal with, with that contrary ability. It can just keep spamming superpower, and just giving itself that attack and defense boost over and over again. If you're able to run that thing with an AV, you're going to have a really, really bulky Lurantis set straight off the bat. Of course, the Charizard, the Tapu Fini, Latias sort of trio that have been really big for me. Not to get so much together, but they've just been really, really strong as a trio. That I think have really helped out in the games that he has won as well. Spiritomb as well. We didn't see Spiritomb a lot during the early parts of the season, but he's really, really unlocked that thing. And with its icy winds, foul plays, and Snarls, it's just been an absolute menace of people to deal with. But over on the Bully Boys side then, Diggersby has been putting in the work since that mid-season trade point, almost getting the job done against the Heat last week. It is very, very scary with that huge power ability. It's definitely not something to just sort of to sit and ignore. It can hit like an absolute truck. Of course, Lele as well, that Psychic Terrain I think is going to be really, really important to stop the likes of the Mienshao going for the, its fake outs. But got to be careful, as I said, where that Spiritomb is concerned. You could sit and snarl you to death, and Lele with no special attacks is going to be in a little bit of a position. Of course, the Psychic Terrain, can easily be countered by a Finny proc slow. Finny is typically slower anyway, so Meme, I would imagine, going to look to try and bring Finny to counter that terrain, just allow his Mienshao and things to do what they want to do, which is also in turn is going to allow Persian Lola to get those fake outs and things off as well. Persian Lola in its own right, like Spiritomb, not only has the likes of the fake out, but has the stat drop moves, and Snarl, foul play, icy wind that can be so important, just lowering your opponent's attack. Bennett as well, I think, is going to be quite strong here. Just to deal that stab type ghost type damage into the likes of Latias. Just at the risk it might come, and of course Mega Bennett with that prankster ability can be so strong. Also potential for a Blastoise to come as well, but need to be careful where that thing's concerned. Of course, while Lurantis is running around, you do not want to walk into a Leaf Blade from that thing. But anyway, guys, I'm going to stop my babbling. Let's get into this one. It is the Bully Boys taking on Space City PC. We're going to jump straight into this one as the Persian Lola and Diggersby kick things off with Laurentis and Raichu on the other side. Meanwhile, as Bennett, the Tapu Lele, Entei, and Blastoise in the back, and the back for Meme is the Finny, the Mienshao, Gliscor, and Spiritomb is going to switch into the Finny, set up that terrain. Maybe expecting the Lele switch in, and it's going to proc that berry on the Persian Lola, but the Gunk Shot is going to take out the Laurentis straight off the bat, and already a mon goes down for the side of the Space City PC. Diggersby again putting in the work with those Gunk Shots. The Misty Terrain proccing that Misty Seed on the Persian Lola, giving it that special defense boost it needs, as Gliscor is going to switch in place of the fallen Laurentis. Then, of course, that Diggersby did move very quickly, so Diggersby looks to be scarfed here as the Gunk Shot going to get protected by that Tapu Fini. Icy Wind, going to get that 4 times effective damage and drop the speed of Gliscor, but Gliscor going to go for that sword stance then, and of course Toxic Poison. With the Poison heal means it's going to be healing itself up each time, and Meme can potentially just look to protect that thing and then go on the attack, just allow it to get some of that HP back, but that speed drop is going to be all important. But no, the Gunk Shot is going to miss though on the Finny. How huge the Charm is going to drop the Gliscor's attack back to normal. Muddy Water is going to miss at Diggersby, get a chip damage away to the Persian Lola and drop its accuracy, but there goes the sword stance again from the Gliscor, so gets itself back up to 2 times attack. This Meme's going to try and bring itself back, and it goes for the protective causing to block that Gunk Shot. You know, just can safely do that. The Charm comes out again. Out comes the Earthquake. It's going to get some good damage away to both the Diggersby and the Persian Lola. Persian Lola, with that Fair Coat ability, of course, gets double its defense. So it's very, very bulky at this point. And that Gliscor just slowly but surely just healing itself back up to where it needs to be with that Poison heal. And Meme could just sort of comfortably keep hitting the Protector, or even go for a switch in on that Finny. It's the Diggersby's locked into Gunk Shot. Gunk Shot's going to miss again though, unfortunately. The Icy Wind's going to come out. It's going to get that super effective damage on Gliscor. Drop the speed of the Finny as well. Muddy Water, Diggersby just about hanging on. Out comes the Sword Stance from the Gliscor. And that Poison heal really coming in clutch for getting itself back above half HP. Is the Diggersby going to try and go for another Gunk Shot? You know that Finny's going to be protecting itself. There is a protect as expected. Gunk Shot goes into the Gliscor this time, trying to take that thing out. Icy Wind, is it going to do enough? No, Gliscor hangs on with 5% HP. Goes for the Earthquake with that 2 times attack, and it's going to take out both the Persian Lola and Diggersby. So 2 for the price of 1. And all of a sudden, the momentum has swung back in Meme's favour as a 2v3. Is Lele going to switch in, as well as the Entei going to set up that Psychic Terrain. And Entei with the balloon there. So Gliscor can't be going for any Earthquakes until he's got some damage off into that Entei. But of course, on Muddy Water into that Entei is going to do some big damage. Raichu going to switch in. Protect comes out from that Gliscor, try and get some HP. The Thunderbolt though into that Raichu. I'm not sure if that was an amazing read, expecting the Thunderbolt coming out, but now obviously that has now been revealed on the Lele, so Meme's going to be well aware of that going into his Finny. And Raichu with that buff special attack now could start to become a problem for the Bully Boys here. That is the Nuzzle into the Entei is going to pop the balloon and get the paralysis up, but the Moonblast is going to take out the Gliscor then, and the Sacred Fire goes off and gets rid of the Raichu, and again the momentum switches around with 2 deaths in one go, and now Finny with it all to do against Lele and Entei. Does reset the terrain though. More importantly, of course, Meme now going to be well aware that there is a Thunderbolt waiting for it from that Lele. Is he going to choose to go on the attack with the Muddy Waters here, or are we going to see a Calm Mind get set up there? Is the Thunderbolt gets a big damage away, the thing is going to proc that Citrus Berry, gets some HP back and goes for the Calm Mind, so now the Bully Boys going to know that's it. And the Paralysis procs on the Entei as well. How huge could that be for this game then? Is the Thunderbolt's going to take it down to below 30% HP? There's the Muddy Water, the Entei just about hangs on, can drop the accuracy, the Lele, but the Stun Edge going to hit, and the Bully Boys going to take this game number 1 then. Very much back and forth game that one. We'll be moving to game number 2. Spiritomb and Mienshao lead the line this time, and Blastoise and Diggersby now as the duo for the Bully Boys. So as we said, that Spiritomb going to be hitting really, really hard with those snarls, and those stat drop moves will be all important. Got to be careful of the potential fake out coming here from the Mienshao. Whether Meme's going to risk it or not, I'm not too sure. Knowing that there's a potential switch in for the Lele there. Billy Boys trying to decide what the best best move choice is to go for here. You know, as I said, it is going to be Scarf Diggersby, so whatever choice is going to be locked in. The fake out goes into the Blastoise, then so risks it for a biscuit, goes for the rock side, maybe trying to go for the flinch on the Spiritomb. It doesn't get it off a foul play, it's going to get some damage away the Diggersby then, and of course now Diggersby is locked into that rock side, which I don't think is going to be doing enough damage to either side. Even with that huge power, there is the helping hand coming out from the Blastoise. That's still not going to do enough. Even with the helping hand, Drain Punch is going to get rid of the Diggersby, and the Mienshao is going to get some of that HP back thanks to the Drain Punch as Icy Wind comes out. It's going to drop that Blastoise's speed and do a little bit of chip away. As now in comes the Tapu Lele. It's not where the Spiritomb wants to be, sat facing down the Lele, but you know, the potential for Protect here. Blastoise looks to be a sort of bulky support Blastoise this time, so no Mega Stoise as Wide Guard's going to come out, maybe expecting the Dazzling Gleam. How comes the Follow Me? There's a Moonblast. It's going to get rid of the Spiritomb then, so maybe expecting a Dazzling Gleam, you know, going to do damage into both the Mienshao and the Spiritomb. Tries to make the read, but as Moonblast on the Lillas, now in comes the Lurantis. And this is a scary position for Blastoise to be in right now. Out comes, and then comes the Finny, then some Mienshao switching out comes the Follow Me, then Moonblast into that Finny, gets some good damage when there's a superpower, and there you go, the Lurantis is going to start buffing itself up with those buffed attack and defense stats thanks to that contrary ability. Helping hand coming out from the Blastoise. Protect though from the Finny. Out comes the Thunderbolts, and Meme expecting the T-Bolt then. Superpower going to go and get Blastoise, just about hanging on. But now Lurantis with that 2 times attack and 2 times defense is a very, very scary position to be in. Of course, no gunk shot on a Diggersby, able to switch in and take that thing out now. So this is, Lurantis is getting very, very scary very quickly. Helping hand again from the Stoise, trying to get the damage off T-Bolt, is going to take out the Finny then. There's the poison jab into the Lily, gets a critical hit, reveals the Kibby Berry. The critical hit is going to mean it goes down, and that's a huge critical hit, and now is a 2v2. Frisk on that Mega Banette is going to reveal the Sash and the Assault Vest though, so that's good information there. You'd be expecting the Sash on the Mienshao, but now that support Blastoise and Mega Banette with it all to do. And there is the Mega Outcomes, the helping hand then. Fake Out is going to get rid of the Blastoise, and there's the Shadow Claw is going to get rid of the Mienshao, and now the Lurantis is going to take out the Banette, and all of a sudden that game is done, and Meme is going to tie us up with one piece. So we're going to go straight into a game number 3 then. Once again, these two taking us to that game 3. Spiritomb and the Mienshao leading the line again. Your Meme sticking with what worked last time. As this time it is the Lele and the Diggersby then for the side of the Bully Boys. You know, we saw how much damage the Diggersby did in game 1, but the rock side damage is not really proven to be enough. And got to be careful with that Mienshao now. You know, with the terrain being up, unless Meme decides to switch in that, you know, that Finny. You know, Fake Out's not going to be optimal here, and could just go straight for the Drain Punch, which is going to cleanly take out that Diggersby. Diggersby switches out, in comes the Banette then. It's going to frisk to find the leftovers on the Spiritomb and reads a Drain Punch. So there's a great read there for the Bully Boys, and Moonblast is going to get some big damage off from the Spiritomb. Spiritomb just about hanging on and goes for that Icy Wind. Going to drop the speed on the Lele and the Banette then. So getting those important stat drops off early. That's what Spiritomb does best. Me be thanking his lucky stars that the Spiritomb managing to hang on there. It's very, very important. You know, that it lived that 10. But Mienshao, of course, with that Sash. it means you've got a double in. It's going to switch out. In comes the Lurantis, then instead Protect coming out from that Spiritomb. The Lurantis switching into that Moonblast and the Shadow Claw being blocked by that Protect, so that's an important switch out there for Meme, keeping the Mienshao safe on full HP. It means he can bring it in later to get that bring in that fake out pressure if he's able to switch in the Finny, or if the Psychic Terrain ends. There's the Moonblast is going to get rid of the Spiritomb though. Shadow Claw is going to get some big damage weight at Lurantis, and Lurantis is going to go for the Leech Life, so it's going to get some of its HP back and get some chip damage weight to that Lele you would expect now. Is the Finny going to switch in? The Finny does switch in, reset that terrain then. Lele you would think is going to go straight on the attack with the T-Bolt there. Try and get some big damage weight at the Finny before it Calm Minds. The Mienshao is going to switch in. The Bennett goes for the Swagger, going for that Lurantis, trying to get the contrary and reset its attack going the other way, but it's now just buffed up the Mienshao, and instead of course with terrain being up, it means that it doesn't get confused after that move either, so that could be a big Hachimachi. Mienshao is in a great spot now. Of course terrain is in Meme's favour here, so could go for the fake out or could just go straight for damage. There is the fake out. It almost takes out the Lele from that position. Dazzling Gleam is going to indeed take out the Lele, but the Bennett managing to hang on. There's a Shadow Claw. Is going to take Mienshao down to just under quarter of its HP. And it is now a 3v3 then. But that Mienshao is in a very, very, very scary position. The Bully Boys need to deal with that thing as quickly as possible. As in comes the Diggersby then, as we said, it is Scarf Diggersby. So is Meme going to potentially sack the Mienshao here? Is he going to try and go for a switch in, just keep it alive? Protect going to come out from that Finny there as the Confide is going to drop the special attack on the Finny. The Gung Shot though going to take out the Mienshao, and now it is all up to Finny and Lurantis, which are both weak to that Gung Shot, which the Diggersby is now locked into. So all that Meme can hope for here is it goes to the miss or try and protect itself. The Lurantis ain't going to be able to get a protect with that Assault Vest, so it's kind of wide open, so all it really hope for is the miss. There is the Swagger, which is going to drop that attack. Gunshot going to take care of the Finny. There's the Leaf Blade, gets the critical hit though, despite the attack drops are going to take out Diggersby all the same. And now it is Entei and the Bennett versus the Lurantis, and it looks like the Bulu Boys have got this one in the bag. There's a Sacred Fire, gets the job done, and the Bulu Boys are going to put a stop to that unbeaten streak of Space City PCs, getting the win there, and the Bulu Boys getting back to winning ways. So GG's to Meme. Always a fun set with that guy. Not gonna lie, my heart hit my mouth when he switched in the Mienshao into that Swagger. I was very, very panicked for my existence. I really thought at that point Mienshao was gonna just sweep through the team. So that was very scary. So believe me, when that went the way it did, there was a sigh of relief there. But yeah, it was a really, really fun set to play. Really close games as always. And yeah, it's going to be exciting to see. Meme's got 3 games now. It's still, solidified that playoffs position. So he's, as I said, there's still so much left to decide. No one is out of it yet. So a lot of important games coming up in the next couple of weeks though. But on to our game 3 of the week. It is the Shadow Kings taking on the resurgent Toronto Six. We said Jay's really turned this thing around, came into the league in a very difficult spot with just the 1 win, to that team slot that he came into, and has got himself, the wins he needs to sort of claw himself back, into contention for playoffs. So that's what you want to see, and that team is incredibly strong. We're going to see pretty much a battle of the spread moves potentially here. We know Coco loves to go for that discharge to proc the Electivire's motor drive, as you mentioned every week, and we know how strong Indeedee Female with that Hatterene expanding forces are going to be. They're going to really, really hit hard, and of course Indeedee being much slower than Coco means that Psychic Terrain is going to go off for the Coco. So Dogsy may look to just sort of switch in the Coco at a later time, try and get a read on that, stop the expanding force from one hitting so hard and getting the double target, but also, it's going to be a bit of a war of attrition in terms of Trick Room. Trick Room kind of benefits both and then also doesn't benefit both. Dogsy's very much got a fast mode and a Trick Room mode, that Mega Camera under Trick Room, as well as the Abominus Note are really, really strong. And similarly on the Toronto 6 side, the Hatterene, Urshifu, the Hatterene and Indeedee and the Copper Raja really, really benefit with that trick room, alongside something like the Meow Stick or the Hip on top as support. It's going to be really, really big. We saw a bit of an interesting strat last week where he went for the the skill swap with the Meow Stick into Shinotic, giving the Shinotic pranks to Saurs. Unfortunately, the ability on the alchemy meant that the pranks to Saurs didn't go off, but it was very, very nice to see. So Jay's got a good handle of this team, so it's going to be very interesting to see what Dogsy can come up against to try and put a stop to it. I said it's going to be very much a sort of battle of terrains, of speed controls. So it's going to be a very, very exciting match to see, I think. Well, without further ado, guys, let's get into this one. It is the Shadow Kings taking on the Toronto Six. I will just warn you, the first sort of 5-10 seconds of this clip are a little bit jumpy for some reason, but it does level itself out eventually once get loaded in, as the Coco and Electivire lead the line for Dogsy, and it is the Meowstic and Hatterene for Jay. Of course, Dogsy's got the camera to the Thwacky, the Bruxish, and a Bonus Note in the back. Jay with that hit on top, the Indeedee, Copper Raja, and the Marowak in the back. Sorry, I had to think there. That's a very dangerous thing for me to do, thinking as well. So just, but it does look to be very much a sort of battle of spreads. Potentially Jay going to look to bring in that Indeedee as a switch in, or bring it in at a later time, allow it to be a little bit of a late game sweeper. Meowstic's in a very, very good position here to try and either drop some attacks or drop some stats. Hatterene will switch out, in comes the Marowak then, expecting the electric attack. Fake Out going to block that Coco's attack, and Dogsy even potentially seeing the Marowak switch in, thinks better of it and goes to the Rock Slide instead of the ground move, electric move. So smart stuff there from Dogs. And smart stuff from Jay as well. The mind game's beginning already. You can see them hovering over the Ice Punch on that Electivire. Electivire with that really, really huge move pool makes it quite a big threat to opponents, so you can never count it out. Marowak's in a great position to take out both these ones though, so Dogsy definitely got to be careful here. We didn't really see Meowstic used to great effect early in the season. Goes for the light screen though early, doors going to stop that Dazzling Gleam, and doing so much Rock Slide, going off again, trying to maybe go for the finish, but the Stomping Tantrum going to proc that Sugar Berry, but Coco, it doesn't matter, it's going to go down all the same. Marowak getting the early kills, and in comes the Thwacky, then resets that terrain, and Thwacky's in a good position here against this Marowak. But may see Jay go for a switch in of his own if that Indeedee is kicking around in the back. Stop those Grassy Glide from being priority and from doing as much damage. Thwacky might be the sort of middle Evo, but still packs a punch with those Grassy Glides. And there it is there. Indeedee switches in, resets the terrain. Protect comes out from the Marowak. Ice Punch blocked by that Marowak's Protect and the Grassy Glide. So Dogsy going for the double in and allowing Indeedee just a free safe switch in. And that light screen really proving dividends in that earlier turn as well. So smart stuff here from Jay. Follow Me, it comes out into that Indeedee. There is the Rock Slide, of course got that spread, maybe trying to go for the flinch as Knockoff going to go out, going to get rid of that Indeedee. Those is a 3v3 now. Stomping Tantrum is going to get rid of the Electivire. Marowak just really putting in the work. That's 2 for 2 with those Stomping Tantrums, my god. Just getting huge damage off. It is now a 2v3. What is the final moment for Dogsy and the Shadow Kings? It looks to be that Camerupt, which is similarly not going to enjoy that Stomping Tantrum from Marowak. So Marowak's primed in a very, very good spot here, and Thwacky in a little bit of a pickle of its own. In comes the camera then, as in comes the Meowstic. So Meowstic, not going to be able to get any sort of prankster off against Dogsy's side with that terrain being up. So that's the only downside for it. But it can still be quite a nuisance all the same with the screens, and it is a decent damage dealer as well. If you're just looking for that bit of chip, it can be really useful. both just trying to work each other out on that turn 5, but Jay with a very, very big advantage here in this game number 1. You know, proving he's not just a one-trick pony with the Ndidi hat spam as well, so it's really nice to see. You know, it's got a very, you know, there's a lot of variables to that team. It's, you know, it's very diverse, so it's really nice to see sort of different sort of aspects of the team coming out each week, and you know, just that sort of that duo of Hat and Didi is just strong in its own. So there's nothing wrong with bringing it, of course, but you know, it is certainly a duo we are very used to here in the British Pokemon Leagues. Hatterene is going to switch in, then Protect coming out from that Marowak. Knockoff going to be blocked by the Protect, and the flash of the double into the Marowak again, just allowing Hat for that free switch in. God, I think that flash cannon goes in that, you know, that spot that Hatterene switched in. Could have been in a really, really good spot there, but you know, this is the game we play. Sometimes it's hard to call these reads. Protect going to come out from that camera up. Then there is the Hammeram and the Marowak managing to hang on the Fwacky, going to drop its speed. Stomping Tantrum going to block by that Protector. There's the Expanding Forces, gets some big damage off to Fwacky, which it does. Fwacky managing to hang on though, all the same. Fwacky dropping its speeds is a little bit scary. You know, not having that priority available to it as well. There is the Hammer. So is going to finally get rid of Marowak. There is the Flash Cannon. Hatterene though managing to hang on though. No Mega and the camera up just firing on from the Expanding Force with camera up with the all to do now in the 1v2. Meowstic and Hatterene. The terrain does indeed end, but camera up now with 11% HP, so no Mega being revealed just yet. Maybe trying to keep Jay guessing in that regard. Going to block that fake out at least, stop him from going down to that. But this one is going to be in the bag for Jay and his Toronto 6. Great start of this one. That Marowak really, really putting in the work. There is the light screen as the Hatterene manages to hang on through that and takes care of the camera up. And there is confirmation of that game 1 win as we move into game number 2. Then says Brooksish and Fwacky lead the line this time. So Dogsy maybe trying to get that trick come up, but it's not going to matter because in comes Hatterene and Ndidi. Grassy terrain though is going to go up. Fwacky of course slower than that Ndidi, so going to at least stop those that Expanding Force from doing as much. And Fwacky is going to be free to go for a fake out here, maybe stop that Hatterene from, you know, either getting damage off or going for the Trick Room. But it's maybe that Dogsy doesn't mind the Trick Room going. Well, as I said, he's got that camera up as an option there. And maybe that Abominable Nose kicking around in the back as well, of course, going to benefit from that Trick Room and the terrain being up in its favour. He's just trying to decide the Hitmontop is going to switch in, going to get that all important Intimidate off there as Protect on the Hatterene, going to go off Grassy Glide into that Hitmontop spot. Not going to get too much damage on it. Brooksish is going to be free to get that Trick Room up. Hatterene's in a great spot though now with that Trick Room being up. Not that it can do a whole lot of damage to Brooksish here, but might be able to get some decent enough damage off it in the Fwacky. You know Hatterene likes to run Mystical Fire. At least get some super effective damage off, because Fwacky does tend to run that Eviolite. Going to give it that little bit of bulk that it needs. Of course, Hitmontop now going to be free to go for its own fake out, but got to be careful for that dazzling ability on Brooksish. Definitely can't understate that, and switches in, resets the terrain. Smart stuff there from Jay, goes to the Expanding Force, gets some big damage off on the Fwacky. Hammeram comes out as it does get the critical hit on the Ndidi, so gets some big damage off. And the aerial ace as well into Ndidi, not really getting too much off. You know, the aerial ace on that Brooksish has not really been, you know, doing the damage I think Dogsy's been hoping in recent weeks. Gotta try and go on the offensive. You know, if you can get rid of that Ndidi, then, you know, it gives him that ability to sort of switch in and out of Fwacky and reset those terrains. It looks to be a sort of trick room set, so I'd imagine Coco has stayed at home for this, so, electric terrain isn't really going to be on the agenda, but, the longer you keep Thwacky kicking around, the better. Him on top, Gunners, we should get that into him off again, just able to just rotate it out. Expanding Force going to get rid of the Thwacky though. There's the liquidation, not going to be doing enough to the Hatterene as well. The Hatterene just bulking it out. Brooks is just not able to deal enough damage. And Jay going to have that early game mon advantage then. As in comes Cameron then. 2 turns left of Trick Room. Is he going to reveal the Mega on it, or is the Mega on the Abominous Note instead? Of course, Hitmon Top not going to be able to go for any fake outs here, but may look to go for wide guard if Cameron's going to be looking at an eruption. It's up to Dogsy to try and make a read on that and maybe go for a different attack. We saw how much those flash cannons were doing to Hatterene. Hatterene was bulking them out, but every bit of damage helps. Marowak going to switch in then, so Jay just making full use of the switch-ins. Hatterene goes for the protect. There's the flash cannon into the Marowak, and the aerial ace just not getting quite enough damage off. 1 turn of Trick Room left to go then. Is Dogsy going to risk the eruption and try and get as much spread damage off as possible? Hitmontop going to switch in, get that in Tim off onto Brooks. Brooks just the attack just completely flawed. Ally switch comes out, and there is the eruption. That's going to get some big damage away. Hitmontop, and Hitmontop manages to bulk it out, and Siriusberg going to get itself back up to half HP. And down goes the Trick Room then. So this is a great position for Jay to be in. This is probably one of the few times where the team actually benefits being out of Trick Room when these two are on the field. Snow going to switch in for that Mega Camera, then going to set the hail up, helping hand going around from that Hitmontop. Aerial S again, just thanks to those intims just not doing enough. Rockslide going to come out, takes out the Abominous Snow, and it is now a 2v4 Brooksish and Mega Camera with it all to do. Then Jay's just simply controlled this game, that Hitmontop being an absolute nuisance, for Dogsy to deal with those intim switch-ins. And Jay's going to be getting yet another win hit. Helping Hand comes out, protect on the camera up there. Rockside going to come out, is going to get rid of the Brooksish and camera up with the 1v4. It's not going to be able to get enough done. One Stomping Tantrum should be enough to take care of the camera up. There's the Helping Hand. There's a Stomping Tantrum. Down goes camera up, and confirmation of Jay winning that one there, the 2-0 fashion. So GG's to both players, and of course Jay as well. As I said, he's really turning it around and giving himself that best chance of making playoffs, and is now tied for record with Dogsy sat in 8th place. So it's getting very close. Those next couple of weeks are going to be very crucial for Jay to make playoffs. So he's got to get all the wins that he can. I'm pretty sure has played, when the team slot was obviously controlled by the Swindon Rookies, has played a lot of the top teams already, so might even have a bit of an easier run coming in, so we will certainly see. But on to the next game then. It is the Tendor Melmetals taking on the Krimic Colossals, and if there was ever a set of mons that Lucario really threatened, it was the mons on this Krimic Colossals team. Deals pretty handedly with Excadrill, Kangaskhan, Venox, Alchemy, Actazol, Togepi, Anlanoon, Galar. It's a very scary position for Dr. Dave to be. He's going to have to be on his game here to take care of this Melmetals team. But, we know Dr. Dave has picked a few sort of niche picks into that team, and is definitely not one to be trifled with. If he's able to get those tricks off, it can be quite an annoyance to deal with. That is for sure. So definitely do not count him out of this one. Of course, I think the Whimsicott and Arcanine are going to be really, really big here as well. Arcanine, just to sort of give him that extra, fire type pressure over the likes of the Butterfree and things. And Tim's going to potentially sort of cause problems with the Dracovish and Excadrill if they're to come. I think Jellicent as well could be really, really important here again to deal with the Vish and the like. That Water Absorb, Strength Saps, and Will-O-Wisps are really, really important, and proved it last week against Aaron as a Glorious Surface just how good this Jellicent is. Kirky has made very, very good use of that Ambipom as well, so do not overlook that thing. It is an absolute nuisance when it gets going, but very, very interested to see what strat sort of Dr. Dave goes for. That Bibarel does have that moody ability, and I would imagine Alchemy as well with that Decorate. Something funny, something funky could get going right there, as we saw last week. We'll see if he's able to try and get it pulled off. As we go into this one, then it is the Tendol Melmetals, Tendol Melmetals versus the Crimmic Colossus, and Kirky has got that Whimsicott, Lucario, Arcanine, Latios, the Ambipom, and the big frilly squid thing. My brain has absolutely just gone to shit. I'm so sorry. I literally was just saying its name as well, but anyway. Dr. Dave as well has got the Excadrill, the Togepi, Bibarel, Butterfree, Kangaskhan, and the Linoon Galar on his side. So very, very interesting lineup there for Dr. Dave. No ice types this time round. Ambipom and Arcanine going to kick things off. Out comes the Kangaskhan, which you'd expect to be the Mega, and the Bibarel then. Ambipom could go for a fake out of its own into something like a Bibarel, but you would imagine with that moody ability, Dr. Dave's going to maybe going for Protect on that Bibarel early does. Scrappy, of course, blocking that Intim going off from the Arcanine side. And we know Kirky likes to run that, a special attack Arcanine as well. It's just, I didn't think it had that good a special attack, but it proved last week it really does have very strong special attack and is a nightmare to deal with. Jellicent is the name of that Pokemon, by the way. Did eventually get there. Dobrodek comes out from Dr. Day, then going to block that fake out on the Kangaskhan, because I'm pumped very, very fast. There's Heat Wave, going to get blocked by that Protect as well, and off goes the Moody Boosts. Getting that 2 times defense does drop its special defenses, which is not what you want to see, facing down against a special Arcanine, but Bibarel's not going to be too bothered about those Heat Waves. Whereas Kangaskhan, with that sort of load special defense, it might be a little bit terrified. Kangaskhan can switch out as in comes the Togepi, then sees the double hit coming in. Togepi manages to tank that, then out comes the Heat Wave. Togepi just about hanging on there, and Substitute going up in the Bibarel, then going to allow it to just freely get up those Moody Boosts, gives it that 1.5 times attack, and it drops its speed. We're very, very used to this sort of setup in a Moody Pokemon. We saw it plenty of times last season with Silver using it on his Octillery, and if done correctly, can be super, super useful. As in comes the Kangaskhan, then Protect comes out from that Bibarel, stop that Substitute Bibarel at extreme speed, looking to try and get rid of that Togepi, so Dr. Dave reading that and makes it switch in, and the Ambipom's double hit going to get blocked. Now has the 3 times defense on that Bibarel, drops its speed that little bit further, but I don't think Dr. Dave's going to be too bothered about that. His speed's not maybe what you're looking for when you've got a Bibarel. You just want to do as much damage as you can. Fake out, going to go into that Arcanine, then gets the double hit. Double hit comes out from that Ambipom, and Kanga managing to tank that one. Then the flinch, of course, going off that fake out, and there's a liquidation which gets rid of the Arcanine. That's a really huge turn from Dr. Dave. Then gets the Mon advantage, and Bibarel just putting in the work. Gets another boost there, which is hidden by the name, but I believe it is a special attack boost or special defense boost, with the speed being dropped again. As now in comes Lucario then, so it's potential that's the only damaging move that thing might have. We've seen 3, Protect, Substitute, and of course Liquidation, so let's hope there is another one in there, because if that as Togepi going to switch in, the double hit does miss. If that Jellicent switches in, then Liquidation is going to be a problem for Dr. Dave. Gets a 2.5 times attack, and the special attack drops on that Bibarel. That double hit miss could be very, very huge for Dr. Dave's efforts as Jellicent now going to switch in, reading that liquidation coming out. How comes the follow me? Double hit is going to get rid of the Togepi. And there is the liquidation making the reads there. Water Absorb going to mean liquidation not doing anything. And out comes more of the Moody Boost. It is a special defense boost that it's got, and special attack boosts, or special attack drops, and the speed drops. And that Bibro is looking very, very scary. It is now a 3v3. Butterfree, you would think, is going to try and put something to sleep here. You would look to maybe, try and take care of that Jellicent. Double hit though goes in the Butterfree. Butterfree managing to just about hang on through that sleep powder. Gonna put that Jellicent to sleep. Down it goes, liquidation. Gonna get rid of the Ambipom, and the Bibarel with 2 kills has a 4 times defense back thanks to that Moody. But all importantly, what is that 4th move? As he's not got anything to take care of the Jellicent, and this could get very scary very quickly. As now in switches the Lucario, which Keki hasn't revealed as the Mega yet, but there is confirmation it is a Mega Lucario. Goes to the Bullet Punch, trying to get rid of that Butterfree. The Jellicent does get the 1-time wake up, and there is a Muddy Water, which is only going to do a bit of damage to that substitute. Liquidation gets a big hit onto Lucario. This Bibarel is sweeping through the entire Melmetal's team. We have not seen scenes like this in a long, long time. Kangaskhan going to switch in, then Protect goes off for the Mega Lucario. There is the Muddy Water, does miss the Bibarel and gets a bit of damage off the liquidation. Gets blocked by that Protect. Of course, Kangaskhan, with it being Mega, is now not going to be able to go for a fake out or anything into that Jellicent, with it not being Scrappies, but can go for a fake out into that Lucario instead. And then that just leaves the Jellicent to deal with, but could get rid of it. Kangaskhan goes to the fake out and sees the Bullet Punch coming. When the Water goes off again, the damage being done to the substitute, but not enough as liquidation. Going to get rid of the Lucario, and that's 3 kills for Bibarel now. Gets the speed boost. The defense does drop though. Look at all those stat boosts on that Bibarel. But what is the final move for the Bibarel? This is the important question. Focus energy comes off from the Kangaskhan. There is another Muddy Water. Kangaskhan just about hang on there. There's the headbutt to the 4th move is headbutt, which means the Bibarel cannot do anything to the Jellicent. And Dr. Dave is putting all of his eggs in the 2 baskets that are Kangaskhan and Butterfree. Has got to get a big enough hit here off against the Jellicent. Or not, is headbutt from the Kangaskhan. Is that the only damaging move of the Kangaskhan? Kangaskhan going to go down. Now it's all up to the Butterfree then to do enough to Jellicent. The Bibarel can get all the stat boosts in the world, but if it has nowhere hit the Jellicent, then we're going to have a problem. Goes into the Jellicent again. There's a sleep powder. Puts the Jellicent to sleep. Might make it a little bit easier to deal with. What has the damaging move? Has the Butterfree got? I would expect it to be maybe Pollen Puff. But it has got a Pollen Puff for its life. Otherwise, all this Bibarel stat boost is going to be in vain. There's a Pollen Puff, it only does 11% damage, and the Jellicent wakes up. Shadow Ball going to get rid of the Butterfree, and now we have a bit of a problem. We have a big problem that Bibarel cannot hit the Jellicent, and unfortunately, it's going to mean that thanks to PP, that this Jellicent is going to, would be able to PP stall this Bibarel. Unfortunately, both players didn't have time to sort of see that out. So Keki going to take the forfeit win in that game one. Is so unfortunate though for the way that go down, as Dr. David works so hard for the Bibarel to get to boost. This time Arcanine and Lucario lead the line with the Togepi and the Bibarel. Then Lucario goes to the Mega. Out comes the Meteor Mash, and it all caused the Togepi not standing a chance. And there's a Heat Wave into Bibarel then. Bibarel going for the substitute this time rather than Protect. What Moody Boost is it going to get? It gets a special attack boost, but drops its attack. So the Moody Boost just not working in Dr. Dave's favour this time round. And Keki may potentially have the measure over them this time, as in swings the Kangaskhan. So Dr. Dave got to sort of choose carefully what to fake out here. There is a Protect from the carry. It's a double Protect, just plays it safely, stops any fake out from any flinch going off liquidation. He'll get blocked by that Protect as well. 3 times special attack. The drops its defenses. There's still no attack boost for that Bibarel, which is what it so desperately needs to be able to do anything here. Protect comes out from the Kanga, then maybe reading a Bullet Punch. This is double Protect. Drain Punch coming out from the Mega Lucario now. There's the Heat Wave from the Arcanine. Get blocked by both and protects Dr. Dave, just desperately hoping it gets the right boost. It's going to drop the defenses though, and the 4 times special attack now. If only it was a special Bibarel, then it would be perfect, or even a mixed set, but no, just not go the way the cookie crumbles this time round. Kind of going to switch out. In comes the Butterfree. There's the Drain Punch, so it's a great read there from Dr. Dave, seeing a Drain Punch coming in. Heat Wave is going to hit the Butterfree. Butterfree just hangs on though. There's a Liquidation into Lucario, not really getting enough done to it. Gets a 2-time speed boost, but drops its attack even further, and this Bibarel now I think is just, it's in a world of trouble. Let's just say it's not in a good spot. And it's such a shame, he's worked so hard to get this off the air. Liquidation just not doing enough. Drain Punch is going to fade that Substitute. There is the Heat Wave. The Bibarel is going to indeed resist it, but just not quite doing enough. Bibarel has such a happy-go-lucky face. Kangaskhan going to switch back in. Text goes off for the Bibarel. There's the Drain Punch. It switches right into a Drain Punch. So a great read there from Kirky. Heat Wave get blocked by every text, and now it's all up to Butterfree and this very, very non-threatening Bibarel. Oh, it's so unfortunate to see it go down this way after that game one almost worked. We almost got it. The Bibarel getting the game win, but alas, we must wait another week. Kirky going to be able to take this one, still with all four mons in Liquidation, just not doing enough. Drain Punch going to get rid of that Butterfree. And there is the Dragon Pulse from the Arcanine, just trying to slowly chip it away at those defences, but Bibarel's not going to manage the 1v4 at this point, unfortunately. Just got to hope for a crit, I suppose, but that's the best he can do, and unfortunately Lucario is going to have the measure of it. Can do all the protecting at once, but it's not going to be enough, for the defence still dropped as well. Goes for the Substitute. There's the Drain Punch, going to immediately break said Substitute. Dragon Pulse goes off. Bibarel still just about hanging on. The speed boost is actually helping it in a sense, but I don't think it's got enough health to go for yet another Substitute. So this one is going to be, this is where it's going to go. Citrus Berry on the Arcanine is going to give the HP back. There's a Drain Punch. It gets rid of it, and Kirky takes this one 2-0 and gets himself yet another win. It was so sad to see that game one. We were all praying that fourth move was anything but a normal type move. I can see why Dr. Days went for it, for that stab, but head right in the heart. But GG's to both players. It's really nice to see Dr. Dave trying these different strats, and one day they will pay off. But unfortunately, today was not that day, and Kirky has said with another win under his belt. Well, our fifth game of the week, then it is the Long Island Goobies taking on the Miami Heat, as we mentioned earlier in the show. Last time these two played, Silly getting that win over Latvian for the first time since Season 1. Just absolutely put him to the sword last time round. It wasn't even, remotely close. That was the scary thing. So, that's going to probably be playing in the back of Lat's mind, the way that last game went. But Silly on one hell of a losing streak right now. It got to be said, he's on a 3 or 4 game losing streak. So he really, really needs to try and turn his fortunes around, because as we're getting to this business end of the season, losses is something you really need to avoid, and he needs to win this to sort of keep himself in with the shout of playoffs. Otherwise you're going to be relying on results going your own way, and that's a very scary ground to tread on. But all the same, I think Polygraph here is going to be really, really huge, just to sort of take care of, quite a few of the fighting type weaknesses on that Miami Heat team. As long as he can put a stop, to the Articuno, Galar, the Urshifu, the likes of the Primarina here, which, he could very comfortably do with the likes of the Venusaur or the Thunderous Therian, then he might be in a good spot. But, saying that Latvian, knows his way around this Articuno Galar like no one else, knows it in the back of his hand, and, that Urshifu single strike is a menace with that Focus Sash. It's very difficult to just get rid of, especially paired next to something like that Lipad or any kind of support one like the Mr. Mime. It can make it all the more awkward to deal with. So definitely going to be something playing into the back of Silly's mind, but could look to sort of make use of Sableye. Sableye with that prank ability has access to Encore. Could try and lock Latvian into a certain move and defeat him that way. Or as we've seen a few times this season, Silly has gone down the route of using Mega Sableye, getting off a nasty plot, and that thing it's going to be able to deal big damage into a lot of Lat's main threats like the Articuno Galar, like the Primarina, like the Duraludon, things like that. So definitely something that's going to be playing in the back of Lat's head as well. But I expect a bit of a close battle here. These two are pretty evenly matching on, and Silly, as we said, is going to be trying to get himself back to winning ways. Lat's going to be trying to build on that win that he got last week over the Broody Boys. But anyway, guys, let's stop my babbling. Let's get into this one. It is a replay game, so I will, as I said, I will do my best to keep up with the action as into game one we go. As it's Thunderous Therian and Electabuzz leading the line for Silly, and Latvian with the Galar Arcuno and the Lipad has got that Seeking in the back with that lightning rod ability, which is going to be really huge as the flinch goes at the fake out for the Thunderous. Thunderbolt from Electabuzz gets a big damage off to Articuno, and of course Articuno goes for a speed boost or trick room as it always does, gets a freezing glare off, gets some big damage off to Torkoal, and that snarl from the Lipad gonna drop the special attack of both Electabuzz and Torkoal, but it's not gonna matter as Articuno's still gonna go down that Thunderbolt, and Lat finds himself 1-1 down as in comes the Primarina Protect, goes off that Torkoal. There is the Rain Dance from the Lipad, gonna reset that Sun that Torkoal set up, and Hyper Voice gonna proc that Throat Spray and give Primarina that special attack boost, which is not what you want from Primarina as the snarl gonna drop those special attacks even further. Thunderbolt not quite getting enough done thanks to that snarl. Hyper Voice from that Primarina. Paralysis doesn't proc, and Primarina going to take 2 down for the price of 1. And it is a 3v2 as it in-switches the Thunderous Therian and Venusaur. Then Focus Blast does miss on the Lipad, but does indeed reveal it there as Primarina going to go down to the Energy Ball, unfortunately, and Snarl going to start dropping those special attacks. But it is now a 2v2. We said this one would be a close one, so in comes the Urshifu. Focus Blast does land this time, but not quite enough to take out the Urshifu. Wicked Blow going to get rid of the Venusaur there, and Snarl going to drop that Thunderous special attack even further. That Snarl to begin with really being huge, and Lat gets the win with the Sucker Punch in this game to want to move straight onto game number 2. Kicking things off with the Lipad and the Galar Arcuno once again, and Silly this time with the Thunderous Ear and the Sableye switches out once again to try and read out that fake out. Electabuzz taking that fake out instead. A nasty plot goes up from that Sableye, meanwhile Articuno going for that speed control with the Tailwind, and Sableye going for the Mega Freezing Glare. Going to get that crit, but not quite enough to Electabuzz. The Snarl going to drop that special attack a little bit to the Sableye, but it's not going to matter as this Thunder Wave goes off into Lipad, and Shadow Ball going to all-core the Galar Arcuno. So Mega Sableye once again really putting in the work, and Seeking switches in this time. Draco Meteor gets a big damage off to Sableye, but not quite enough. That with a great read there, sees the Thunder Wave coming in a lightning rod. You know, the Seeking just going to switch straight into that, and the Duraludon takes a big hit from that Shadow Ball, and Latvian trying to preserve that. Duraludon switches into Lipad. Follow me from that Buzzamine goes down to that waterfall, and Seeking takes a big hit from that Shadow Ball as well. It's funny enough that Seeking took the hit better from that Shadow Ball than Duraludon did. Fake Out going to stop that Poliwrath from getting anything done, and Waterfall going to get rid of that Sableye. All of a sudden it's a 2v3. Once again, Facilities in comes the Thunderous. The Paralysis goes off in the Lipad, and Focus Blast is going to take out that Lipad. That Paralysis being super huge. Bulk Up goes off in the Poliwrath, and there is the Icy Wind from Seeking trying to drop those speeds. You know, try and slow them down and allow that Duraludon to be able to do something when it switches in. But it's not going to matter. Thunderous is still faster. Focus Blast, even with the low accuracy, means it's going to land anyway. And those Icy Winds are in vain, and it looks to be that Silly is going to tie us up at 1 apiece. So yet another of Latvian's games going to a game number 3. There's the Focus Blast, and Thunderous Therian getting 3 kills in that one. Really huge for Silly as Lipad and Urshifu this time for Latvian's going to switch things up, and Silly sticking with the Sableye and Thunderous lead, going to switch into the Poliwrath there, read the fake out coming in. Rain Dance goes off the Sableye, that Wicked Blow does some huge damage to Sableye just about hangs on. There's the Sunny Day from the Lipad, you know, resetting things to stop that Poliwrath from getting big damage off. Close combat, not quite doing enough to Poliwrath, but gets itself a bulk up off anyway, and Dark Pulse going to proc that red card on the Lipad, so out goes Sableye, and there's the Follow Me. The Electabuzz going to just about hang on. Snarl though going to take care of that Poliwrath, so Lipad getting himself a kill and dropping the special attack on the Electabuzz, all the same as in comes the Thunderous Therian. Seeking switches in, expecting the an electric move, but goes for the feint. It's a Focus Blast, getting some damage off of the Seeking, but the Snarl on the Lipad again doing the killing blows, gets rid of the Electabuzz. And now it is a 2v3. The Sableye in such low health. There's the Rain Dance. Focus Blast is going to get rid of Lipad though. And the Icy Wind, those stat drop moves, just been getting all the kills in this one. And all of a sudden it is a 3v1. Thunderous with it all to do. Focus Blast is going to take Urshifu down to 14, but it's not going to be enough as Wicked Blow is going to get the job done. And Latvian gets a second win in a row and gets one back over on the Silly and his Long Island Goobies. So yet another loss for Silly and his Goobies, and he's really going to try and turn it around now with 3 games left to go after this week. You know, it's got 3 huge games for sure to try and turn his season around. But, you know, GG's to both players. That was a really close battles. You know, as we expect, you know, game 1 and game 2 was super close. You know, game 3, not so much, but still, you know, very close stuff. The amount of Focus Blast hits, let me just say, RNG doesn't exist in this game. I don't care what you say. It just doesn't. Focus Blast hitting all those times, it just, Ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, guys, in our final battle of the week, it is the Inglorious Surfers taking on the Newcastle Thunderers, as we mentioned. Aaron and his Surfers is going to be looking to try and bounce back from that defeat to the Melmetals last week, re-establish themselves, as the top dog and get a win here over the Newcastle Thunderers and Big Dog Dave. We've seen Dave very much bring the same sort of six each week, and as we mentioned last week, so it's going to be very interesting to see whether Aaron is going to set himself up to beat that six, or just set himself up to sort of take care of what he thinks are the biggest threats on Dave's teams. Dave, maybe this is the week where he decides to switch things up and try something different to try and take out Aaron. Beat him when they're down sort of mentality. Aaron just lost a game. Maybe try and go down that route. But this is potentially where the likes of Insen and Lando T are going to be really, really huge, just for the fact that there is so much physical attacking presence on that Inglorious Surfers team. If there's only really Pelipper as the special attacker there, as well as Pikachu. So, if he's able to take care of that Pelipper, then it could be golden in that regard. So it'll be very interesting to see what Dave goes for. But you would think Aaron maybe going to go for something like an Adrenaline Orb. If he is going to take a stat drop, at least get a speed boost, for his troubles and take care of it that way. But guys, this is going to be the last match of the week. Let's get right into it. It is the Inglorious Surfers taking on the Newcastle Thunderers. This one is also a replay, so I will do my best to keep up with the actions. Out comes the Pelipper and the Swampert, and Dave with the Indeedee Mail and the Altaria then. So he has switched it up. As you can see, the team is as well no Incin. So the Cloud9 on the Altaria are going to stop the rain, taking effect from the Pelipper. There is the Expanding Force, so resets the terrain. That's smart stuff there from Aaron. Feather Dance going to go off from the Altaria. There is the Ice Beam, but gets the freeze on the Altaria. How huge could that be? Drapion now going to switch in space that Rillaboom. There's the Mystical Fire going to drop the special attack of the Pelipper, but procs its Citrus Berry to get itself back to HP, and the Fire Spin goes off, so it does at least thaw out. But it's not going to matter because Pelipper is going to get the early game kill, and down goes Altaria. And now it is a 3-4. In comes the Rotom Watch, then Energy Ball goes off from the Indeedee Mill. Not quite enough damage. The Crunch is going to reveal that Coldberry. Indeedee Mill manages to hang on there. And the Will-O-Wisp goes off from the Rotom Watch. Then Hurricane from the Pelipper is going to get the confusion on the Rotom Watch as well. So how huge could that be? We saw last week though, those burns proving to be really, really huge. Against Aaron's team. So this could be the way, but it doesn't matter. Indeedee Mill going to go down that Crunch, and now all of a sudden it is a 2v4. Dave with it all to do, backs it against the wall as Trevenant now switches in. So it's not Ferrothorn's a knock off, gonna knock off that Chesto Berry then. So we're potentially seeing the rest coming out from the Trevenant. Will-O-Wisp goes off again from the Rotom Wash, and there is the rest in Trevenant thanks to that knock off Chesto Berry. Not going to proc and not going to be able to make use of that harvest, and can't stay alive. Out comes the Rock Side then, just not going to be doing very much thanks to that burn, but Leech Seed out from the Rillaboom does get that flinch on the Rotom Wash though. Aaron getting the RNG as out comes the Cross Poison from the Drapion. Drum beating goes off from the Rillaboom. It's going to reveal the Rindo Berry on that Rotom Wash, and up goes the Reflexes, so just stopping the damage going off from Aaron's side. Crunch again into that Trevenant, just slowly chipping away. The Drum beating now does indeed take care of the Rotom Wash. Is it 1v4? Poltergeist goes off. It's going to miss the Rillaboom though. What is going on in this game? As in comes Pelipper now to set up the Drizzle. Crunch just slowly chipping away at that Trevenant's HP, and Trevenant is now going to go for the Trick Room and goes to the rest. Get itself back up to full HP. Dave trying to get an early wake up. Hydro Pump though does hit on the Pelipper, and there's the Crunch as well, just for that the extra bit of damage. It does get the defense drop as well to boot. There's the Hydro Pump from the Pelipper, and Aaron going to take this game one. Dave trying to sort of nullify the attacking threat there, but just not able to do it enough early on, and had too much left to do late game as Rotom Wash and the Gala wheezing them when the new gas switches in, and it is the Mega Swampert and Pelipper, so the Will-O-Wisp is going to get blocked by that Protect. Hurricane is going to land on that Gala wheezing, then gets a big amount of damage, and off goes the Smoke Screen trying to drop the accuracy of that Pelipper. High Horsepower goes off. That is going to get rid of the Gala wheezing, which is going to allow the rain to go up, and Hurricane going to land again. No confusions this time, but then up goes the terrain, so you're potentially going to see Rillaboom go up, but no, the Wild Guard comes off again, sees the Expanding Force coming, it's going to block that from going off. Liquidation is going to get rid of Indeedee Mail, and again there's a 2v4. Bricky's going to get blocked by that Wild Guard as well, so Dave had all attack stat drop options covered. Protect goes off, and the Swampert. Thunderbolt is going to take out Pelipper though, so he does get one down. and Feather Dance again blocked by that protect as well. In comes the Rillaboom to reset that Therese. Is not what the Rotten Wash is going to want to see. Grassy Clyde not really getting too much off. Reflect going to go up. There's the breaking swipe, so he's going to start dropping the attacks. Liquidation not really doing much to Altaria, just knocking on the door, trying to get these two down in 3v2. And Leech Seed going to go up. Will-O-Wisp going to get blocked by that protect. And there is the Fire Spin then. So Rillaboom is now locked in and is going to be taking a bit of chip damage each turn. But I think the Grassy Terrain, the Leech Seed, are going to sort of nullify that damage. That in comes the Drapion. Drapion switches right into a Will-O-Wisp then, and another Leech Seed going off. There's the Feather Dance from the Altaria. That Rillaboom's attack really just completely stalled out. And that Leech Seed just slowly but surely taking care of Altaria. There is the Grassy Glide. It's going to, of course, put that Wind Rainbow Berry, meaning it's not doing much at all. Rock Slide from the Trapeon, not doing much either. No one at home. And the Perish Song comes out from Altaria then. So Dave going absolutely all in, just trying to sort of stall it out. But Leech Seed's going to get rid of Altaria. And now it is all up to Rotom Wash. Because Aaron does have a switch in available, but he switches in the Mega Swampert. Grassy Glide going off into there, and there goes the Thunderbolt. So Aaron making a great read there, seeing the damage move go off. And this one looks to be in the bag. Aaron is going to get the 2-0. There goes the Grassy Glide. The Reflect's not going to be enough, and Aaron takes the 2-0. So Dave tried something very new, very much different to what he's been bringing the last couple of weeks, so that was really cool to see, but not quite enough to take care of Aaron T. Marshall, and Aaron gets himself back to winning ways, which is what we like to see. But after this week's games, let's take a look at that league table. So just for confirmation now, Aaron has indeed qualified for the playoffs with 3 games left to go. So congratulations to Aaron and his glorious Surface. Latvian and his Miami Heat are all but there. I believe they have qualified. It's just a case of game difference. I think they're just about qualified just because of Toronto Sixers being at -5. So Latvian pretty much all but qualified for playoffs as well. So our first 2 entrants into the Season 4 playoffs all but confirmed. But down below them, it is still anyone's guess in our final 3 weeks. We have got 4 teams on a 5-3 record, 3 teams on 3-5, and 3 on 2-6. Absolutely nothing separating 7th, 8th, and 11th and 12th there. So it could be all change come next week. So the next couple of weeks of action, just like last season, are going to be absolutely nutty. You know, we saw the relegation running from last season, how crazy that was. And I'm going to expect very much the same. But guys, that is going to do it for this week's episode of the British Pokemon League. Again, apologies of the delay on this one. I said had various trips and regionals and things, so I've got in the way of that, but you know, should be back to normal next week, and next week should see the return of the British Pokemon League Championship show, as well as hosted by our very own Aaron T. Marshall, so we will see you there for that one. Some more information on the dates that'll be airing coming on our socials. Make sure you check back next Monday at 8 PM for next week's show of the British Pokemon League here on twitch.tv/British Pokemon League. I'm your host, Matt Starr. Goodbye and good night. Mwah.